Part 2. Letters to Emma Bolker by Bill Callahan. I'm up at HQ now. I woke up excited by the rain-slicked roads. I wanted to hear the hiss of tires, but I only drove to the airport, stopping to buy fresh duds and a duffel bag. HQ said I oughtn't drive all the way here. They're trying to reverse the vortex temporarily as an exercise to see if they can. They're talking like it's imminent. Feels like a publicity stunt. I don't know what it's all about. I would hate to think I had anything to do with this. I would hate to think that a large reason for living would end. But I could find a reason to live in any situation. Siamese fighting fish can live in a water buffalo's hoofprint filled with rainwater. We live in a hoofprint, dreaming of where the next foot fell. Don't use the address on the envelope. I'll only be here a few days. There was some fella waiting for me outside my cabin this morning. You know the type, pretends not to know you, but he's the one coming up and doing the talking, and his face shows that everything he's saying isn't what he truly wants to say. You can see it just there in the cheek. I wanted to deck him. I could become a boxer, easy. Letter 42. You might as well start sending your letters here. I will be stuck here for longer than I thought. I slipped, cracked my head on the shower wall, was hoping for a lump but not a scratch on this infernal orb. The elfin doc insisted I stick around for tests. I have been mostly dull lately, like a butter knife, and hoping to find, when called upon, something more in my arsenal than a butter knife. Unless my opponent is actually butter, then I would be fine. Room temperature butter. I sometimes see a shortcoming in myself. How little patience or understanding I have for many people with the way they act. I am able to see the fragility in some, but I only have so much time to wade through their manipulations and traps and draining behavior. Some people think I'm heartless and leaving others to suffer their own selves. The whole trip has been depressing for reasons I would probably never tell anyone. Ego tings. You know, I try to be strong for you, still. It's exhilarating and exhausting to meet so many people and have to be on. And at the end of the day, there is a canteen meal. One long table. One night I made a joke about changing my diaper between the courses. It bombed. Not a ripple. There are levels to compatriotism. I bought a suit. The first non-second-hand suit I've ever bought. First day I wore it was on the plane trip here. It's time to stop wearing other people's clothing. I also bought some boots. The shoeman in the bootery said, "You have to have attitude to wear these." I wore them on the plane too. There was a girl, Emma Jr., sitting across the aisle from me. She had long, thin legs and jeans and virgin white sneakers. Her grandfather next to her and another girl of her age to his right, probably her best friend. She and I were both admiring Junior's leg and shoe for the hope found there. The way the jean leg went to the perfect height above the shoe, it was satisfying to look at. Eventually her eyes wandered across the aisle to my boots. I was ready for her. She took them in. They are not of the fashion. They were unfamiliar to her. No one in her school wore them. Did they mean something or nothing? We both looked at my right foot, but before too long our eyes went back to the white shoe and thin leg and stayed there. Letter 43. I found myself rosy reading your portrayal of love. It is sure-footed and goes against petty squabbling. I still want to know about the things you couldn't tell me but said you one day would. It's 12:34 a.m. The time when the clock feels significant, as it often does here, as if the numbers are looking for the right combination to unlock me. Look how much more obvious can it be? I'm lying down, I might as well go to sleep. Yesterday I remembered the time I was staying at an ex-girlfriend's house while her husband was at work. Have I mentioned Becky Plates? I was attempting to take a late morning nap after some days away from sleep. It was a small open apartment and Becky was trying to keep her boy from talking. He knew how to talk, but he hadn't learned to whisper. I lay there listening, not considering myself disturbed by his talking. Being awake for whatever reason, I had been awake for 2 days already. She kept trying to explain how to whisper. She had about given up. After a long pause, when the mother sat in frustration, he whispered the word sleep, and I slept. There is a reason ice is slippery. Did anyone laugh at you? I have an inability to help anyone who has fallen. To witness injects me with a paralytic joy. If someone falls in front of me, you've never seen such a smile in your life. I'm tickled by the chance that they are learning something. Those falls encapsulate half my studies. If we can remember how we feel when our footing was gone and the ground had not yet accepted us. I took another spill yesterday. I froze midair as if my life became a complete circle there and any additional movement would shatter it. The elfin dock is concerned, painted wooden steps leading out of the cabin, a smattering of beaded rain. I was wearing the impractical treadless booties that Robin used to say I looked hot in, and I was carrying 4 boxes of notes and readings and data reels. Slipped on the first step and rode all the way down on my pockets. I watched it all in great detail and wished I could take a reading every time I bounced. I thought, I wonder if he's going to hit his head. The boxes and all inside them went flying, wheels rolling. Reached bottom. Looked around. I saw Elfin Doc's glasses flashing behind a window. Got up. No injuries. No physical proof. I did a little shovel like that boxer who always gets knocked out and respooled the dewy reels. I associate those types of falls with childhood. I was constantly flying off my bike for attempting the impossible, jumping a ditch, riding through a rocky creek. Knees skinned daily, concrete like a cheese grater on skin. Pain was a fresher and more bracing sensation than lemon juice. These days it's more nuanced, like lime juice. I will probably leave here soon. I could visit you, float in like a cloud, real nimbostratus-like. Letter 45. So you hold on to those old memories like dream ingots too? I don't need to know the specifics, it's enough to know you are holding them. Although I may ask someday. Deathbed request? We are alike in ways that only a scalpel could prove. As you can maybe tell, I am not there with you. I fell again even after donning the regulation Vortex boots. The Elfin Doc did a thorough checkup. I'm as healthy as an ox, but they want me to stay here so they can observe me. I've been transferred to a different cabin, one with no furniture, so I sit on the floor. If I stand up and walk a straight line, people gasp and applaud. I walk to the little commissionary, and it was as if I were their child going to his first day of school. Hankies to their mouths, I play it up for them with little dips and slips and dashes to the edge of the abyss. When I was a child, my mother used to beg me to take a bath, but once I was in there, she'd have to beg me to get out. I'm looking for drinking partners once I get out of here. I can't think of a way to meet up with your pal that wouldn't be awkward. I have a past vision of meeting his wife. It may be conjured from things you have said about her. I can see her, but I can't imagine in what capacity I would have met her. I can see us briefly shaking hands and parting. But right after that, I see myself in rags running through a sewer with rats, so I'm not sure how trustworthy the memory is. Letter 46. They've been through my notes and nodded. They suck the air from my room when they step into it. As soon as they leave, I snap back. I've been crawling. I could probably walk, but I've been crawling. You see, the undersides of things haven't changed much since I was small. A table with thick, black bolts. A dresser with a patch of yellowed paper that looks like it should have fallen off 20 years ago. A lengthy equation written on it in intricate, illegible penmanship. I understand you are frustrated with me, my inability to visit you. I tend to look too long at the intricate, illegible messages pasted around me. I am doing my best to get out of here. I thought you'd be the first to say I had superpowers. I'm glad you didn't. My powers are a frenzied patience, lackadaisical perseverance, and despairing optimism. Do women get hairier with age? I know some old women have the face fuzz, but how common is that? I tell you, I'm growing hairier by the minute. Still nothing on my back yet, but I don't check that often. Letter 47. We need something we can send into nothing. I mean, we have it, I'm just saying we need it. Acknowledgement is half the battle, the other half is old plain combat. The Elfin Doc asked what I wanted out of life. I said, one of those big desk blotter calendar things. because I've wanted one for about 20 years and never gotten around to buying one. And lately it has felt that there is too much coming up to store in my feathery head. The doc brought me 1 minute later. I started to enter information I'd been carrying on various scraps of paper, half the dates and past, but I was so excited about having the calendar that I entered the expired events too. I'm glad you're getting some good done. I am molting. I'm not exaggerating when I say I mostly stare. People look at animals and ask incredulous, what are they thinking all day as they eat their nuts and berries? Look within, my friend. The vortex rages. Letter 48. When I woke, the doorknob was on the floor, and a wet wind blew through. I found the screws and a screwdriver and set about to fixing it. It should have taken 10 minutes. It took me 2 hours. The screws would not go in. It had me cursing the day monkeys invented tools. Or is that too contemporary a cultural reference for you? I almost threw the screwdriver through the window several times, but now the knob is back on, slightly loose. I never for 1 second thought it would be a difficult task. If there is one thing I have, it is a buoyant, unreasonable hope about things I haven't experienced. Letter 49. My parents taught me to always lie about my profession, but up here I can't. It's all on the table. Letter 50. I took a Vicodin yesterday night, and my breadline blood turned chalky white in its honour. I made a really good omelette, saluted my reflection in the window a couple dozen times, and then slept like a teenager. It's overcast and misty, and a crow is jiving with the jay's nest. I need some good affection and to squeeze a dead-end buck. I climb up on the cabin roof sometimes to let the stars into my eyes, but once I am up there, they seem farther away than when I am on the ground. There is a constellation that reminds me of your hip bone. I think I am trying to get closer to that bunch of light. The other night I fell asleep with my head against the cool, mossy shingles. I could hear the scrabbling of mice for squirrels. I was certain it was old Orange Hands playing dice in the rain gutter. I can feel the way your hips would fit into my hands perfectly, like a lifetime rifle or an overweight but well-groomed cat. Or a large breed dog who rarely gets lifted but loves it sheepishly when it does, a foot finding a solid hold in a rock face where before there was none, and then for it to be covered in skin. What could be better? Child, take care of that hip. When they say it's okay to leave here, I swear I'm coming straight to see you. I should have come to see you when it was easy. Letter 51. I saw some sort of wildcat out my window, too big and stripy to be a domestic stray. They're getting off the mountain since the vortex tourist development began. I hope that you are in the depths of something good. That is why I have no mail from you. I am tired of hearing about my grey. One of the docs puckered his face up and said, "What have you done to your hair?" As if it were Bozo Orange. As if it was something I'd done. He was displaying on his desk a red pepper from his garden. I nabbed it on my way out of his office. I think fish became humans because they didn't have any way to pistol whip each other. Letter 52. This is the unbowed, post-op. I've got 2 dentist Vicodin in me. 1 penicillin too. Who's going to go and get me yogurt cups and soup cans? This is opiate-fueled prose, he says. Dr. Caesar, the HQ dentist, wears 1 stud earring and square-toed shoes. The procedure was not too bad. I wouldn't dread doing it again. Him holding my jaw, the nurse holding my head up. I was comforted by the fact they deemed it a 2-person job. Drills, needles, pliers. I wasn't under anaesthetic, but they were talking so quiet and conspiratorially, it made me feel as if I was. The 1 tooth was putting some awful gunk in my mouth. I'm glad it is gone. It was causing me to nicker and sometimes bray. I think it was also putting something into my bloodstream, as my skin smelled of sweet rot. Battle bean. I feel shot. My face is swelling up a little. Not the half a grapefruit you're probably banking on. I have lowered a flag or 2, still I don't hear from you. I am unable to express the past couple of days of where I have gone and what I have seen there. If the vortex is unchanging, why take readings of it? Why not just let it be? But I guess it doesn't really let me be. If I let it, would it let me be? I miss your moral reliability. I will write again soon. Letter 53. My haircut routine is to be topless over the bathroom sink while I guide as much shorn hair as possible into a brown paper bag. It's a lot of work to keep it short. It feels like duty. When does duty become not duty, become not diligence, or discipline, become the wasted act? It feels like the wasted act. I'm going to let it grow. I called the operator when I was small, my first unaided call. After a long silence, I told her, "There's a robin in the backyard on a tree." The words, "Is that right, sugar?" melted from her as if I was her favourite son. I wonder if she ever thinks of me. I wonder what happened to that robin. No, I don't. It's dead and festered away to nothing. But what happened to that phone and that desire? I am still on the floor for the most part. Last night clung to the beard for dear life. If I let go, would I whip crap to the ceiling and back? Woke bleary-eyed and took some micro-readings, strictly off the record. The day moves as if shackled. Letter 54. The wind is howling in the heat event, but the trees are petrified still. Here, it must. My dental hygienist sent me a vacation photograph of her family. They are all holding her horizontally, the husband in the arse region. I looked at it for way too long. Those cuffs short. It's been a long time between drinks. I watched the news and thought that a language without a country is a perilous thing. I did a little Cotimundi-style investigation around the crater's edge, towed some pebbles in. They are still falling. I promise I will let you know when they touch ground. I could become a short story writer, easy. You are still reading so high on the meter that some would doubt the meter was functioning properly. Not me. Oh, I've taken a pet, a three-legged dog. I think he might have lost a leg to one of the evacuating wildcats. Life will be alright, I think, with a three-legged dog. Letter 55. I woke up naturally at 7 a.m, but then I got suspicious. So I thought backwards and remembered I'd heard a sound, and that was why I was up. It was your letter, which had fallen through the slot. The dog looked at me and then hobbled to it and brought it over. We were happy to get word from you until we read it. Yes, I remember Charlie. You have written of him in the past. You write like I don't know his routines and impressions. I'm sure he gets a very deep laugh out of you. This letter meant to prove my understanding and patience will only prove the opposite. I kind of thought that with what happened between you two that would be it for him and your life. This letter will thrash like an empty dishwasher running while the rabble in the next cabin over eat off my dishes. Jealousy writes its own letters. Why do some people get away with so much shit, do whatever they want, and people keep letting them back in? He talks a good line. That's what saves these people, and they probably have a more efficient heart than I do. That's what really saves these people. I know you're going to see him again, and what we all, you both, went through will be used to his benefit. It will be an in for him where it should be an out. I'm doing the one thing I asked myself not to do, which is to write without picturing your face. This is what it took. I was wondering what it would take to get me training in earnest to box. I have the impetus now. If I see Charlie, I want to be able to knock him out. He'll probably raise his head and ring like a bell. Letter 56. Don't make me go into that dark shack alone. Letter 57. I just got word that they want to patent and mass produce my spine. That would bring some money in. But they're saying the process would destroy my spine and I'd have to have a replica inserted. Their argument is that I'd be happier with the new spine anyway, the fools. They showed me a clipping from a newspaper saying I'm the roughest, toughest son of a bitch since Icarus. That no one has gotten to such heights or depths and been able to hold a hand steady to document it. But it was an English newspaper, so it doesn't really count. I showed them my method of getting around when I'm floor-bound. Somersaults. Struck dumb by the obviousness, them. I am leaving this place tonight when it gets quiet. I am not sure where I am going to go. I think it's good, despite what they say, to hold the pain in sometimes. As if there is nothing to learn from letting the broken-winged bird flap in the ashes of your fireplace a couple of wing beats past your rescue reflex.